Okay, so I will now rebut the claims of our opposition. Firstly, the opposition made several claims that the legislation would not work because they need an amendment to the Constitution to do it, and that Democrats would not want to lose California votes. And yes, it is true that it's a long and significant process to actually secede from the Union, but nobody's arguing that it shouldn't be that way. We're not saying that we should secede immediately right now. This should be an informed decision that takes into account all the various intricacies of the situation, and assuming that current policy trends hold true, it shouldn't be very difficult to drum up support for secession. A majority of California residents would have to agree. Well, I've already shown information that a majority of Californians disagree with the administration's policies, over 60%. Even Trump voters disagree with some of these policies. So this looks like there's going to be more and more support for this within the next few months and years. There were also financial statistics that they pointed out. They said that we were using old statistics, but the statistics I've been quoting from came from 2016 reports, 2015 reports. I used a Pew report from March 2016 that showed the government spent $356 billion, but we received $369 billion. So that's blatantly untrue that would be the case, that there's some sort of financial discrepancy there. There's multiple sources of information that say that California is a good donor state and has a relatively good financial situation right now. Washington Post again reported that we've consistently operated in the black from 2011 to 2012, so the financial side is not really an issue. There was also a concern that we receive resources from the United States that would be taken away, like we receive water from out of state because of the drought. But the drought isn't something that's permanent. The drought is a temporary weather fluctuation. We can't control the weather. I don't really see how that's really something that can be used against that. And there are other sources of water we can get from other countries. We can build saline plants, all sorts of other things. And there's a fear that, and they mentioned that the U.S. might retaliate economically against California, like they have against other countries. And that might be true, but other countries, on the other hand, could also see a willing business partner who would be willing to work with them. Like they mentioned Mexico, there's some economic restraints placed against Mexico. We're neighbors of Mexico, and we could start an economic relationship with them in that place. So that's not an issue either. So there's still the solvency of our plan is still there. This is a plan that would take time to implement, but we're not asking to implement it in one day. This is just something that should go through with all due effort and thoroughness.